a station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. An affiliate of Direct Impact Broadcasting and Creative Broadcasting, presenting the EmPower Hour with Jaresha, a show that shares the stories behind the journeys of leaders, influencers, and motivators. The EmPower Hour with Jaresha begins now.
Welcome to EmPower Hour with Jaresha. I am your host, Jaresha Moore. A little bit about myself. I am a best-selling author with over 18 years of combined experience in education, finance, healthcare, business management, and development. Owner and founder of EmPower on Purpose, LLC, where we provide personal and professional coaching and consulting services. Certified coach, speaker, and trainer with the John Maxwell team, and owner of Envisioned Broadcasting radio station. Before I introduce my amazing guest, I want to announce an upcoming free workshop being offered by EmPower on Purpose called the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. This is a 5-week workshop. It's totally free, and it will be held at the Dayton Montgomery County Library on June 2nd at 2 p.m. If you are looking for help with achieving your personal professional goals, you don't want to miss it. To register, visit EmPower on Purpose Facebook page or Eventbrite page. So this week's empowerment quote is, I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying, by Michael Jordan. I absolutely love that. So today, my special guest is Steven Garner. A little bit about Steven. Steven Garner is a marketing strategist, mindset coach, and motivational speaker. Steven Garner serves as a marketing director for Dean Houston Creative Group. He thoughtfully leads the planning and execution of marketing strategy and branding for global business-to-business companies. Steven's professional experience includes work as an art director, account manager, senior designer, and illustrator in the advertising agency and corporate environments. Steven's creative portfolio demonstrates his design and management skills, publishing of a wide array of artwork ranging from posters for Warner Brothers and John Lennon to global brands including Toyota, Sara Lee Corporation, Champion International, Dover Corporation, and OPW. Steven holds a Master of Business Administration degree from the University of Phoenix, and he graduated from the Art Academy of Cincinnati with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Communication Design. When he is not serving clients or leading his team at work, Steven volunteers at City Hall, local jails, halfway houses, and state prisons as a spiritual leader with various faith-based organizations. He teaches life skills to incarcerated individuals and reentry classes to ex-offenders. While many choose to condemn, Steven opts to counsel convicts and ex-cons on how to live a high standard of morals and be productive citizens. He partners with local law enforcement and community action agencies in hopes of helping to reduce crime and recidivism. Steven is passionate about actively helping people live a great life. His love for others fuels his desire or his drive to be a catalyst of encouragement through motivational speeches and mindset coaching. Steven is a mindset coach and motivational speaker who masterfully employs the art of creative storytelling to teach people how to live a great life in their pursuit of personal endeavors or in a professional capacity. He speaks with pathos because he knows firsthand how positivity, diligence, commitment, and grit will transform your life regardless of your family origin or zip code. We may fall short at times, but Steven refuses to fall off and give up. He understands how to make your thoughtful life an asset rather than a liability and inspires others to believe in their God-given abilities, providing practical lessons on how to be positive in difficult situations. His mission is to encourage people to embrace the value of their existence and help them live a meaningful and productive life. Recognized for his passion for people and creative communication, Steven has been invited as a guest speaker by various organizations, including churches, the American Marketing Association, the Kettering Health Network, Wiz Kids Gospel City Mission, Oasis Adoption Services, Cincinnati Police Department Taking Back Our Youth Program, Higher Education Mentoring Initiative, Hamilton County Justice Center GED Program, and the Ross Correctional Institute. Steven's personal philosophy includes, but is not limited to, serve others with excellence, inspire others to be great, and turn failure into opportunity. Welcome, Steven. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show today. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm one of your biggest fans, as I mentioned to you before, and I'm so excited to be here on this great, awesome program that you are leading. I admire a whole lot, and so thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So I've had the opportunity to hear you speak a few times over the years, and I can say that the amount of energy that you bring with sharing your story and fully motivating others, really amazes me. So if you could please share, some of your, a little bit more about your journey, your background, and how you've come to do some of the amazing things that you're doing now.
Yes. So it's kind of it's a multifaceted story. So it's really, if I would go back to when I was much younger, what triggered me to want to encourage others, it's kind of a mixed blessing. There were 3 women in my life: my mom, her friend, and my high school girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was around, let's say about 18, just turned 18. And believe it or not, and not many people know this, I was in the process of committing suicide.
Wow.
And so my girlfriend at the time was trying everything in her power to help me to realize the value of my life and to not even make the attempt. I mean, she did everything, okay, during that short period of time. It was just a short moment we were together. I just had one of those breakdowns. Now, you have to understand where I come from, okay? Mm-hmm. So I come from an environment where it's a low income. We were the products of multi-generational poverty. I've never had a father. The environment in which I live, it was infested with crime. I can go on and on about that. So the culmination of those things really, at that young age, reached its apex. And so one of my escapes was to be with my girlfriend. She was better off than I was, but we had a lot of good times together, and we would really spend the weekends together and just enjoy the moment. Well, I had a breakdown because all those things that impacted my life at that point in time really was influencing me to no longer see the value of my life. You're young, you have more testosterone than intelligence. Your self-esteem is challenged as a young man because you never had a model of a man. All these things that are a reality as a young person, you have to cope with all these things. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to take my life. Okay, I was with my girlfriend. Well, she cared. She cared. And she challenged that process by trying to stop it. She called my mom. My mom and her friend came out, and my mom's friend was a social worker at the time. So here, these 3 women, reasoning with me and encouraging me that the value of my life is something that I should consider. Changed my mindset at that moment in time. And so then I began my journey to rethink who I was. So then another brother at that time, the same week, shared with me how God cares about me. And I listened to that narrative, and I really, ingested it and took it into consideration. Took those words at face value, and it changed the trajectory of my life. At that moment in time, I began to walk in my calling. I began to look at myself differently. And so then I realized that, my life does have a purpose. And instead of looking at all those things that negatively influence me, like being fatherless and living in multi-generational poverty and living in a crime-infested area and having to literally at times survive. I mean, I could tell you stories for days, things that shouldn't be on the air about the challenges that I had to deal with. It's amazing when you understand your purpose from the divine perspective, because what that young brother did, he helped me to see what was always in me. He helped me to see the purpose that I was meant to fulfill. And so, but it started with those three women. I always reference those three women because that was a turning point in my life's journey. So when he helped me to see that, I began to look at all these negatives. Now check this out. I began to look at all those negative things that transpired in my life as part of the process to bring out something in me that would not have been revealed if those things had not have happened. Now I know that's kind of hard to accept that. But the reality of it is that there are certain circumstances that will only bring out the best and worst in us. But it requires someone to help us to see our purpose when we are, in between those two places. And at that moment, when that young man shared, hey, God loves you, you have a purpose. And he gave a lot more details than what I'm sharing right now, but I took it at face value as I shared with you. And the trajectory of my life changed. And then I began to do those things that I believe that all of us are born with. I began to live out my purpose deliberately, specifically. And it's amazing. Like, there's a saying that goes like this: when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. And it's amazing how many people began to pour into my life, but they were always around me. But it was like I was blinded by the reality because of the things that I was looking at were the things that were shaping my worldview. Sometimes you hear people who will use all the poverty, the difficulty, the lack of parental guidance, and those are legitimate pains. Don't get me wrong, but they will use those as reasons to fail. They will use those as reasons to stop them from living on their purpose. However, because my purpose was revealed to me, I began to see those things as, okay, these were triggers trying to awaken me, okay, to the reality that I'm supposed to achieve something great in life. So check this out. So you fast forward in the future. So I started doing things. I changed. I started, I changed my diet, my thinking. I had people coaching me, counseling me. I mean, I had mentors giving me money, educating me. Everything changed. I mean, so the environment where I come from, when you're in there, I tell people, I'm trilingual. I speak a few languages. And one of those languages is the language, in the urban vernacular, we call it the hood. Well, even when people started pouring into my life, my vernacular changed. My diction changed. Everything changed. My dress changed. Men started to give me, and this is crazy, like buy me clothes, give me money, whatever I needed to be successful. So, I started speaking. I started telling my story because I wanted to encourage others and go back. And that was the beginning of my journey. And so it's funny. I have to say this to you. It's so funny because my mom, now I used to be a really, really shy guy. Like, I know that's probably hard to believe. I mean,
just a little bit.
Nobody believes it. But my high school buddies, my family, they chuckle when they see me, on the stage speaking before hundreds, or they just chuckle. Like, they're like, this is crazy. This guy was super shy. I was so shy. Like, if I saw a woman that was as beautiful as you are, I would literally like have a problem walking down the street properly. I was like, I couldn't. It just I just had this fear. Now it's like I'm fearless. It's like I draw from the energy of the crowd, but it all stemmed from my purpose, right? So let me tell you this. This my mom. One day we were talking and I was telling her have a speaking engagement and stuff like that, and we never really talked about really the fact that I'm speaking and doing all these different things. I mean, it's like she knew it was always supposed to happen, right? So she shared something with me in recent years that really surprised me. She said, well, when you were a baby, I would say not a baby, I'd say like a toddler. So, she said, my grandmother used to take me to church with her. And I said, oh, really? Is that right? Because, growing up, we kind of went to church, but we weren't really church goers like that. Like now, if people look at me, they know I'm diehard, like I'm all the way sold out for Jesus type guy,
Absolutely.
And so they think you were always like that. I was like, nah, you don't understand. I wasn't. But my grandmother was. She was pretty devout. And so my mom revealed something to me that kind of shocked me, because she never told me this when I was younger. Just now that I'm an adult, she said, yeah, your grandmother used to take you to church, and after church, you would like stand on the table and you would start speaking.
Wow.
You would start preaching. I was like, get out of here. And so here's the thing about this. I said, no way. And, I was like, okay, yeah, I did. Okay, I was a little baby. That's what kids do. They just emulate what they see and hear, right? So she said, no, you were repeating what the preacher said. And I said, oh, okay. She said, but here's what your grandmother said. She said, your grandmother said, one day he's going to be a great speaker. Mm-hmm. Now, you think about it. I told you I was shy, I didn't talk or whatever. So now, like when my mom told me that when I was an adult, she said it really shocked me. And I was like, Mama, why are you just now telling me this? Why are you just now telling me this? But it's about understanding. So then now I look at all these things that happen to me. Great speakers have great pain.
Yes.
While people, the motivators, all the motivators you hear, they have great pain. So people hear them like they're positive. How are they so positive? They always, because it's born out of pain. It's born out of their struggle. It's born out of difficulty. And so you almost need the speaker to have what I call the life texture, that fire, scratches and scars. Because really that person knows how to get out of a hole, knows how to extinguish the fire, knows how to, I always say that every man carries two buckets, one filled with water, one filled with gasoline. A great speaker knows how to use the gasoline to keep the fire going or use the water to put the fire out. But it's born out of struggle. So that's how my journey started. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't live in that environment where I used to live. Mm-hmm. However, I'm the type of guy who goes back to those places. And I have one of my goals in life is to find myself again in someone else, the Stephen or the Stephanie in those environments, to help disrupt the cycle of multi-generational poverty, fatherlessness, and give to them what was given to me. So, this is what's driving me to go into the prisons and to do the motivational speaking and the mind coaching, is to give what was given to me, to disrupt the cycle, to give them the key. Like, here's the key. It's right in front of you. It's like all the pain, like your key of pain is what you need to unlock your potential, so to speak. So that's why I'm on my journey. That's what's driving me every day. That's what's waking me up, So
absolutely, that's amazing. That's awesome. So then, because you shared what really motivated you to be like a mindset coach and a motivational speaker, can you share a little bit more as far as what type of clients you work with?
Yeah. So the clients is so funny. Like, I always laugh because I work with a lot of professionals who are trying to get to the next level, right? And it's amazing to me because, I consider myself an average guy, but I have an above average work ethic. And I say that because of circumstances. I had to learn how to work hard to get to where I am. If I got an A on the test, it wasn't because, I was the genius. It was like because I was up all night studying, And so, when I'm, the people who I coach are professionals who are like academically or intellectually, they're superior than I am, okay? But what they lack is that grit that I have in most cases to get to the next level. And so what you find that it's not what you know, is what you do with what you have. And a lot of times that's the gap between a person who has an expectation but the outcome is different. The in-between is not there because that individual didn't have that experience that I have. So I transfer my knowledge to them to help them get to the next level. They have all the other assets. So a lot of times it's professionals, as you know, is ex-cons. I'm in the prisons because I want to help prisoners when they reenter society. That's a pro bono thing I do, by the way, in the prison systems. I go in there for free. When they do reenter society, I help them to go through this program that I have with other organizations to help them to be successful. And then just individuals who really want to be the best version, of themselves, So, and I get a kick out of this because I see myself in everybody. Like you read in my bio, I don't care who you are. I don't care. I've served some of the most gifted people, wealthy people, to, people who are not as successful. And we all are the same. So those are the type of people that I look for. And it's a passion because as I share with you, I'm always looking to help a person to unlock their inner greatness. I have this gift, I believe, that I can see a person's giftedness. I don't know why or how. I can just give me a matter of seconds, spend a little time with that individual, and I can see what's blind to that person in plain sight. And so my skill is to help them to first see it and then help them to hone it. Those are the type of people that I look for. I look for the hardest, the most difficult challenges because that's who I am as an individual.
Absolutely. So, and I like how you said that you encourage others to truly unlock their, their potential, their imagination. How do you do that? So, some people really struggle with doing that. How do you really help those that have those struggles with unlocking their full potential?
Yeah, so I'm a creative guy, So this is the interesting thing about my background. That's why I shared in my bio, because really what I think that many of us fail to do is to realize the power of our imagination, right? And part of that is going back to your childhood. Okay, so remember when you were a child? I have a daughter, she's young, and she has no inhibitions. If I can tell her not to write on the walls, there would be a mural. There would be graffiti everywhere.
Yes.
And it's fearlessness. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And so because the thing is, when you are a child, you don't know that you can't do great things. In fact, there's experts that say that children are geniuses when they come into the world, but the adults do everything in their power to make them dumb. Okay? So the issue that is first correcting your vision. I teach people to look at themselves differently. Okay, to say, okay, first, let go of the filters. All right, this is key into understanding who you are. You got to see yourself different. And then, secondly, you have to see, okay, who do you want to be? What's the best version of you? What does that look like? And so I use creative techniques. Okay, so first of all, one of the techniques that I use is I help the person create their own personal comic book. I like for people to think of themselves as a hero of their own narrative. Okay. So, and I always say in the context of the problems, let's have fun. Okay. Let's imagine if you were a hero and you had superpowers. Okay. And you had this problem that you had to overcome. Let's create a comic book, and you have all the powers to stop this villain, whatever this problem is. It can be economic, it can be whatever. Let's create this comic book. There's a beginning, middle, and end. We know how the end is going to be. It's going to be successful. And we know how the beginning is. You recognize the problem. Let's talk about the middle. And let's illustrate that in your own way. Let's tell a story. A blue sky, no inhibitions. The reason I do that is because your mind will believe whatever you tell it, okay? But you have to see it. You have to visualize it because that's how the mind works and visions. And so if you illustrate it and then you verbalize it, thoughts plus feelings equals behavior. So you're getting a feeling from what you see. You begin to act on what you think and feel, and that behavior creates a pattern, and that pattern creates a routine, and that becomes your character, and that will equal your destiny. So the first step is changing your vision. You have to illustrate it. You have to create it. And then ultimately, you have to act on it, okay? But you have to use your imagination. And if you don't use your imagination has unlimited potential. The problem is that, going back to the child reference, is a lot of times as an adult, because we get degrees, we get masters, we get, PhDs, we start to challenge our creativity. We start to challenge our imagination and vision because we know too much. Instead of saying, I know more and I know I can achieve anything that I imagine. And that's what I do. The first step is like changing your vision by illustrating it, then walking through the steps, and then putting together a routine to help you to achieve that vision.
Absolutely. I think that is so important. And I love the whole comic book idea. Visualization is extremely important. And I use that with the vision board parties that I offer, with EmPower on Purpose. So I definitely can say that, it's nothing like being able to visualize your dreams. And, the clients that I've worked with, I mean, it's amazing to see them take that and just kind of run with it and see what they come up with. So, on your website, thenextcube.com, you see all different kinds of concepts of how to really deal with the workplace and with the work life in general. Could you share a little bit more about, NextQ and, a little bit more about your business and, your website and all of that and what you actually offer on your website?
Yeah. So absolutely. So I'm going back to the fact that I'm a creative guy, so I have this fixation, and it's with this idea that everybody is this great actor in this narrative called life, right? I mean, and I'm always amazed at how people will ignore who they are and emulate others, and hoping that in that process, they would duplicate that other person's success while they're bypassing their own greatness. So I have this fixation with the idea that, man, you have your own drama that you need to fulfill. You are awesome. You are great. But you are on the stage of life, and you need cues from a director who knows how to turn problems into opportunities, or who knows how to see those problems as part of the narrative to bring out the best in you so that you can have an awesome scene in your life. So NextQ codifies all of my experiences from my struggles, my victories, the little bit of knowledge I have, and it puts it into these short bursts of information, these posts, so to speak, that says, hey, the best way to eat an elephant, the best way to consume all the successful narrative that you need in order to be great in life, you need these cues. You need it from a director. I call myself a life director, okay? Part of that is because I come from the School for Creative and Performing Arts. So they teach you when you go there. They teach you. My major was visual art. So I'm a visual guy. But when you attend a school like that, they teach you how to sing. You have to dance. I mean, I learned tap, jazz, ballet. You have to act. You have to be in plays. Wow. And there's no, because they want to, and it was so amazing about it. They want to see, like, do you have hidden talents? Mm-hmm. You have that one. We know you can draw, Steven, but can you act? Okay. Can you dance? And what's so funny about that is, from that, I learned the dancing when I was at a young age. I used to do professional dancing. I had accounts, dancing. So anyway, wow. I take all of that, so I look at myself as this life director, this creative life director, and I apply the principles of creativity, and I codify it in these messages, in these videos, and these things to help a person to learn how to live their best life. So I say, Jaresha, you were on, your stage of life. You were meant to do great things. Here are the cues you need. I see these great things in you. I see these awesome things, because a lot of times we're blind to our greatness. And a lot of times we look at the difficulties, the challenges, I have friends who are going through a divorce right now and other challenges, and they're starting to look at, their life as a failure. And I'm like, no. Your life is a stage for greatness. This is part of the narrative.
Okay.
Let me give you some cues to help you to perform at a higher level. And this is not going to stop you. Let me give you my next cue. And
Absolutely. I love it.
That's what it's born out of. It's like I'm like addicted to seeing people overcome challenges.
Yes.
And I'm like, I can't even explain it. It's like it inebriates me when I hear, how some people like are secret haters. There was a song back in the day, it was like secret lovers. That's what you are.
Uh-huh. I
wish I could sing, man. I was singing, but you have people who are secret haters.
Yes.
And I'm like why be a hater? Be a celebrator, and make yourself known. And so my fixation is with seeing people achieve greatness, as you know, because I was a failure to some degree because of the circumstances. And so I said to myself, you know what? I need to codify everything I know and what I'm learning, and I'm gonna give some of it away for free. And then for those organizations who can pay, people can pay, I'm going to charge them because there's a value for it. The freebie is like a lost leader, as you know, to attract, people to get them. But really, that's what Next Q is about. And see, the thing is, Jaresha, I think that many of us are failing to live our best life because while mine was suicide, right? At that young age. And I thank God at that young age that someone, disrupted my pattern of thinking. But what pains me the most is when I see older people who basically, in terms of time quantitatively, have not lived their best life, and they're looking forward to dying.
Wow.
And I say to myself, I'm like, no, you need a cue to live a great life. Or when I see younger people who are saying, you know what, there's nothing in life. There's nothing. I'm just going to, consume. I'm just going to eat, drink, sleep, and die, rest in peace. It's like I'm just going to work and then rest in peace. And I'm like, no. You need a cue to live a great life. It's like, I get intense about it. Like, that's why when you see me, you say, like, man, you're so excited. I'm like, no. I'm like, I shouldn't be here right now. I was you. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking to myself, like, I was the guy who was saying, I'm going to end my life. Not thinking like now when I look back, it's like, that's ludicrous. I exist for a purpose. I can only fulfill what I was meant to achieve. I was made this way to achieve something. So Next Q's codifies all of my struggles, all of my wisdom to inspire people to be great. And it really, like my end game here is to trigger a movement, to really create, this level of cult branding that people adopt and it transforms into something totally different than what I intended it to be. But in the spirit of it, it becomes someone else's, reason for existence. I'm just getting started. I'm going to be that guy who's like 94 in front of the camera on the radio screaming. They're like, this dude is 94, bald head, talking about live a great life. He's about to die.
That's right. Yes, I completely agree with that. Absolutely.
If I'm in a nursing home or something, if that happens, I'm going to be in there, cues for living a great life. I'm like, dude, take your medicine. I have my own medicine.
That's right. Yes. So I know you just talked about living your best life, but I know you wrote an article about 2 decisions that will stop you from living your best life. Can you tell the listeners more about those decisions?
Oh yeah. So it's like, so this is the thing. Like, time to me, like, was the most important thing I think we have is time. And I think time is a measurement for success. Is not a measurement for the years or the seasons. That's a byproduct of it. So the two decisions that will stop us from living our best life is not recognizing the value of time, okay? You only have, the experts say you only have 79 years, on average 79 years to live. Now, some people live longer, okay? But when you start to think about that, like if you're 40, you've lived half your life already. 35, you lived half your life. So now you have to ask yourself a question, what have you done to really live your life? Like you have existed up to that point if you're not living your purpose, right? So my thing is that you should be making deposits into what I call your life bank. And your life bank obviously is going to yield a return. It's going to pay dividends, not just for you immediately, like economically and all the good things that comes from working hard, making the right choices, and educationally and relationally and all those things, but in terms of creating a legacy, like it's about creating your after story that will live beyond you. Like you can live for 1,000 years if you write a story about yourself and your greatness. So every day, I look at every day as time as currency, and I need to make deposits into my life that will help me to realize my greatness in the time that I use. So I'm really, I'm very particular about my time. My wife will tell you, like when I get up, I'm very deliberate. I'm very specific about certain things because I want to yield a return. I'm not the guy who says, I can't wait to work so that I can retire, so that I can stop working. It's like, well, but if my work is tied to my purpose, then I'm living. And so if my time is a measurement of me achieving my purpose, then I need to be doing things with my time that's going to help yield a return. So that's the first decision. You need to look at your life as a life bank. Your currency is all the positive energy that you put into your life and helping you to transform into that person you were meant to be and inspire others. King Solomon said, blessed is the man that provides for his children's children. I'm like, man, like perpetuity. I'm thinking about like, okay, the generations to come, so the first decision is making sure that you look at your life as a deposit into your life bank. The second one is not hanging around losers. Okay. So, I have to be careful with this because coming out of an environment where I used to think like a loser, I can't be really condemning, but I know how losers think, so I can be critical. And the thing about losers is that, the saying, show me a man's friends and I will show you his future. The losers, a lot of times we're already born thinking like a loser. Unless you come from a family where they believe in heritage and success and accomplishing great things, you're already surrounded by crabs, negative thinking people, complainers, etc. You got to find a way to emerge from that. The second decision that you cannot make, you cannot hang around losers. Losers will influence you through their speech and through their behavior. And the most dangerous way that they influence us is through their nonverbal communication, because 70% of all communication is nonverbal. So hanging around losers is actually shaping your character indirectly and invisibly. And so you don't know it. Like that negative person, that negative coworker, that negative family member, that doubter is pouring into your subconscious mind through their behavior and speech reasons for you to disbelieve why you should be successful. You think about that for a second. And so, those are the two decisions you have to consciously and deliberately say. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, there are some people I can't avoid. There's always going to be that person in your family who can find, a cloud on a sunny day. You can be in, as the making artists say, on a beach in Hawaii, and they'll say, look, there's a rain cloud up there. Yeah, man, come on, man. It looks like it's about to snow, and it's 90 degrees. It's like, come on, man. You know how those people are. And so you got to stay away from them like the plague, Now, but some people say to me, they say, man, Steven, you're so positive. You're not realistic. No, I said, I'm positive because I am realistic. Because the reality of it is is that your stinking thinking is creating such funk in this atmosphere that I need to have something to repel it. And the only thing I have is my positive thinking. And so, you got to stay away from losers, deposit into your life bank. And this is a day-by-day thing, you know what I'm saying? But it's a shift in mindset. And those are the two decisions I think that will stop you from, living your best life.
Absolutely. So one of the posts that you have put up was your life clock is ticking, so build your dream life now. And you've kind of talked about that a little bit. Could you give a little more details as far as how you suggest that one really truly starts doing that?
Yeah, so this is the thing. So I talked about the time aspect, so I don't want to rehash that. But the one thing that I think we don't do as a creative guy, one of the things I do is help when I'm with on my marketing side of me, my clients that I lead. I lead global brands internationally, and when I'm providing them with strategy on how to position themselves, above their competitor or penetrate a market or expand their brand. One of the key things is making sure that, every day that you do something that will help you to succeed, even if at times it's a failure. Because you have to experiment. You don't know what the outcome of everything is going to be. You can't just rely on your intellect, your education, historical data. You have to make attempts, okay? And so while time is passing, you can't say, like some people, when they play a sport or anything, they're so risk averse, so they'll play not to lose, okay? So I challenge people, my clients, and I say, hey, we have to take risks. We have to, I know we might lose money. I know that, our competition may beat us here in this space. Or I tell an individual, I know this is uncomfortable for you. This is like something that you don't like doing, but you're going to have to fail, okay? In order to, you got to test it. You know what I'm saying? You have to test it. Now, I don't say that, irresponsibly. I say that with okay, we're going to have experts in the room, but we're going to take risks. And I think a lot of times what people do, and I was guilty of this, is that when our life clock is ticking, as the time is passing, just to connect the dots here, and we're not taking risks, we're not making attempts, what we're doing is we're missing opportunities that only happen at a specific point in time because we took the risk at that moment. Right. And we may have failed. But then in that process, there's something we learned from it. There's someone we met. There's something that we've done. We've grown from it. And so, I always try to arrest people's attention like, hey, you know what? And I see this a lot. You don't want to get to the end of your life and have regrets and say, and I visit people like this in nursing homes, sick and shut in, people in hospitals, and people who are way past their prime because they allowed their clock to tick. Yeah. And then, and the pain, I mean, I've heard people like, I remember my grandmother before she passed, right? She was in a retirement community. And she said something that really moved me. Now, this woman was a diva. She was 94. She did all these great things. And she said, and I was in this retirement facility with her, visiting her, and you can hear people kind of, just howling and weeping, and it was disturbing to me. And I like to go visit and touch people and say kind words. And she told me, she said to me, Stephen, not everybody's pain is physical. And I paused for a minute. I said, what do you mean? She said, yeah, they just didn't live the life that they should have lived. She said they have all the medication, the nurses and everything, they're still in pain. That's what I mean by when your life clock is ticking. Every day we should be thinking in terms of making the attempts, doing something creative, radical, something that will help us to fulfill our purpose, to realize our greatness. if you're a diva, be a diva. It doesn't matter what other people think, because at the end of your life, they're not going to be able to do anything for you. If you didn't live your life, they're not going to be able to say, "Oh, okay, let's get back in the time machine and I can fix that for you." In fact, some of those people are going to leave you because they were secret haters anyway. They want you to be in the same barrel as you. And you're looking like, man, all the money you could have made, all the success you could have achieved, all the lives you could have influenced. But while the clock was ticking, you were just sitting down, just doing nothing, or saying, I'm not going to do that. You allow fear to drive you, circumstances, people to deceive you, or even yourself. And I'm like the agitator, the annoyer, like, no, you're better than that. You're great. So I'm getting excited. I'm sorry. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I do, because I feel the same way. That's why I continue to try to empower others, to see their greatness, to see their potential. So, yes, it is exciting when it's your passion. So I definitely understand that. So I know you have shared that you had the opportunity to speak for higher education mentoring initiatives. We both know that when it comes down to, those who lead, motivate, and influence others, we have a mentor. Can you share with the listeners how important that mentor really has been for you, having a mentor coaching your life?
Yeah, the most important thing is for mentors. I can sum that one in one sentence, and then I can expound upon it, is mentors are prophets for me, okay? Like, we live in an age of information. You can go on Google and get whatever you want. It's like you can get information. It's not information, it's transformation you need from the information. Because wisdom is the application of information. Okay, I got the information now. How do I have the data now. How do I apply it so I can transform and do something, right? So mentors are prophetic. Mentors can decrease your educational curve. They can shorten the amount of information that you need, give you the right information, and help you to see your future self in a matter of minutes. And that's the power of a mentor to me, is an individual who can look and say, especially the older ones. See, this is the thing, and I love senior citizens for that very reason. They've lived their life. They've made enough mistakes. They can tell you, son, some people be offended when they get a consultant or whatever, and the person's walking slow, back hunched over, hair gray, they look disheveled, and this person is giving advice, and they're like, I don't want to listen to that old man. Look at him. He's not smooth. He doesn't have the swagger. He doesn't. And I'm like, you need to listen to dude, because old school is going to relieve you of headaches and help you to understand, and because old school has made all the mistakes you're going to make. So the mentors for me are prophetic. They have helped me to see myself in ways that I can't see myself, right? And they've helped me to walk the right path and say, Steven, listen, man, I've already made that mistake. I've already done that. Just go this way. Just do this, all right? Let me help you to see the other version of yourself. And so I always have 5 types of mentors in my network. I have a risk taker that I mentioned to you, someone who's going to say, okay, Steven, you need to take risks, man. You're not taking enough risks. This person is always making me uncomfortable. I mean, I don't care how good I am at something, how proficient. This person is always going to find a way to improve. They're always going to prod and poke me because their goal is trying to help me to take risks. You know what I'm saying? Always have a challenger. Always have a person who's going to challenge my ideas. Socrates says it's the mark of an intelligent man to entertain 2 opposing thoughts without accepting them. Okay? So the challenger is always going to challenge me to not think the way that I typically think. Like, well, let me challenge that. So it's because I can't see outside of myself. I'm so close to it. I think this is the way I should do it. I always have a comforter because you took the risk, you've been challenged, you did it. You broke your nose. Now you're crying. My nose is broken. So then the comforter comes along and says, Steven, pain is temporary, baby. I'm here to be with you. Sometimes the comforter will sit there with you, won't say a word. Sometimes the comforter's presence just gives you confidence and say, you know what, it's okay. I always have, the builder. And so, like if something happened in my life, a loved one died or, whatever, the builder is there to help me to put the pieces back together. You know how it is when you have that girlfriend, they're like, girl, you got you all crying and everything like that. That builder is there to help you to repair your life. Get up, sister. Keep going, diva.
Absolutely.
Keep rocking those pumps. Come on. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's roll, baby. You want that builder.
That's right.
And so, my mentors, help me to it's a combination. Then I have the realist, the person who's like, okay, let's be realistic, Steven. You don't have $50,000. You have $10,000. Because you have a $100,000 dream with $10,000. Now let's see what we can do with the 10 to get to the 100. Those are the type of people I have as mentors, and so that profiting mix, as King Solomon said, in the multitudes of counselors is safety. I'm very specific and deliberate about certain people to help me, people who are contrary to me. Sometimes I consider some of my enemies mentors because they're going to tell me one thing that I don't want to hear. They're going to tell me about myself that's not good because they hate me. They don't like me, And that's my mix. And I deliberately, consistently look for that dialogue from my mentors because I want to accelerate the success that I believe I should realize every day.
Absolutely, yes. I completely agree with that. I have several mentors in my own life, and I have no idea where I would be without having those mentors. I have accountability and everything else. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. So you have truly shared some amazing tips and an amazing story with us. Could you please share with the listeners what is coming up on the horizon for you?
So, I feel like I'm this mad scientist. I have all these things going. Have a couple of books coming out, and one book is on my journey and my wife and I, our childbirthing journey. Our fertility journey. It took us 7 years to have a child, and we exhausted resources. We did everything we could. Nothing worked except for prayer. I saw the best doctors that I could not afford.
Yeah.
Did everything I could. Sold my house. We did everything. Cashed out investments. And so now our daughter is 7. She's beautiful. She's wonderful. But what I learned is that I need to tell our story to encourage others on their journey, whatever that journey may be. That's one.
Yeah.
And so, and we just finished it. It's about to be published. The other one I'm working on is, so I'm a creative guy. I have an animation series that I'm coming out with this fictional character who used the power of their imagination to overcome challenges and inspire other people to be great. So I'm working on that right now, and a book to accompany that, and among some other projects that I'm working on with other people. But my main goal is to create this after story, this legacy, so that people can be inspired now and later. And I'm trying to create, tools that are, to have that perpetuity that live beyond me, the books, the animations I mentioned to you, and some other projects that I'm working on with some other creative collaborators. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be collaborating on something because I love all the great things that you're doing. So, if I could just touch the hem of your, dress, if I could just touch one of the heels.
I'm always looking forward to, collaborating, and I would love to collaborate with you on something in the future. I would, just want to take the time to say thank you for sharing your amazing story and journey. Please share with the listeners how they can stay connected with you and support your efforts.
Yes. So, my website, nexcues.com, nexcues.com. You can stay. I post blogs. I love to write, and so I like to write about all the motivational things and how to overcome different challenges. And my social handles is basically NextQ. You'll see me on Instagram. I try to post weekly, and I have a YouTube channel where I provide content on various subjects. So But just stay in touch. Drop me a line. Also Facebook. Love to hear from you. Love to share one of my cues to help you to live a great life. So take your cues from me and continue to live a great life. Thank you so much for having me. I love it. It's a great time.
Thank you. It's truly been an honor and a pleasure to have you as a guest on the show. Thank you so much again for taking the time out of your busy schedule to give me the opportunity to interview you. I wish you much success and blessings as you continue on your journey.
Thank you so much.
Listeners, thank you for tuning in to tonight's show with our special guest, Steven Garner. Steven brought some great energy and shared with us some great tips on how we can unlock our potential and encouraged us to develop a mindset to live our best life. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, starting your own radio show, or low-cost advertising, highlighting your book, business, or events, please email envisionedb@empoweronpurpose.com. Please tune in next week where you will hear an amazing story and journey from another leader, influencer, and motivator. Until next time, be blessed.
Where Jaresha speaks with leaders, influencers, and motivators who share their journeys in personal and professional growth, empowerment tips, lessons learned, and keys of success that will empower you to be your best self. Follow Jaresha on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jaresha Moore, and visit EmpowerOnPurpose.com. And remember to be intentional and be empowered, and have a great day on purpose.